I was tattooing at the beginning to the point that I was thinking like maybe I'm not meant to do that because they were not healing well. I didn't know how to put the pressure. I didn't know anything about it. I was just figuring out having the tools and I don't know what to do, But I was looking at the magazines in the pictures of the conventions, how the machines was everything together. I followed the book, the A to Z.
Yeah, Huxbalding A to Z.
Z, and that was my teacher. That was my mentor.
I mean, from where you were, that was a big help, I'll bet.
It was.
Yeah.
Shit's about to go down. I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. So pumped right now about my guest. What can I say? Well, he's a phenomenal tattoo artist. The work in his portfolio made my jaw drop, literally. And when he hit me up today, I'm here at the Pasadena Golden State Tattoo Expo, and I didn't know if he'd have time. He's got time. Here we are. These are a little quicker and faster than what you're seeing out of us, but we're going to try to get as much out of this gentleman as we can today. He is born and raised in Peru. He's a tattooer, but his work mainly revolves around black and gray surrealism. You're definitely going to have to go check it out. And there's a lot more to him that we're going to learn about right now. So with all that being said, please welcome my guest today, Stefano Alcantera.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for inviting me. For me, it's an honor to be here.
Oh, well, thank you for making the time. We're all busy, especially a guy like you. So I appreciate you being here. Let's start from a little bit from the beginning because your story is unique. And I think the prices that you probably paid to be in this industry were I don't know, but I'm guessing they were maybe heavier. I mean, you're born and raised in Peru, right? I mean, tattooing is thriving. 30 years you've been tattooing. Tattoos aren't, I'm assuming, thriving in Peru. Maybe economy is not thriving in Peru. We take a lot of this for granted. I take this for granted. Here I am, born and raised, United States. I started 30 years ago too, but I was able to walk right into a tattoo shop. I was busy. Growth immediately began. And yeah, I had my trials and tribulations with bikers and some weird bullshit. But overall, it was looking back, a pretty nice, easy way to be where I'm at today. And I don't want to take too much credit for my success because I realize a lot of it has to do with just geography. I was lucky to be placed in a nation, in a place where people had the money and the encouragement and the desire to be tattooed. So off I went. But your story is a lot different than that. And I want you to put it in your words. So let's walk us through that a little bit. How'd that come to be? How did tattoo come into your life?
Well, in my life came by coincidence. It was just merely luck. I want to call it luck, not coincidence, because
tattoo found you.
Tattoo found me. Actually, my friend brought it was not, to be a little bit of a background where I finished my school and it was not tattoo shops in the country. None.
People were tattooing though.
People were tattooing like by hand,
underground.
like in probably not even artistic tattooing. It was just like probably like
a little cross,
like a little cross, maybe in jail, maybe even the military. I will see like initials of police or military doing putting nothing artistic. So I didn't grow up admiring tattoos. So for me, tattoos were not something that I was desiring to be, or to have, or to be a tattoo artist. And then I finished school, and I love to draw and paint and stuff like that, as a kid in school. My friend, when I started studying graphic design, I went to that route instead of going for fine arts or anything like that, because my country at that time, it was very conflicted. It was two terrorist groups from the same country, and I grew up in my school having like gunshots and bombs in my home city. So to be an artist was a little bit of a scary path to be a starving artist. So it was
that's funny. Let me pause you there because we use the term starving artist in America, right? But let's be fair. No one's actually going to starve here.
That is 100% true.
But when you say starving artist, quite literally, it was choosing, I might not have enough money for food.
Right.
I should go and join the military or do something where I know I will eat. That's a bold move.
100%. That's exactly what it was. So I decided graphic design because I knew I can work in a place and I have a paycheck at the end of the month.
Right.
That was the only reason. If not, I would love to just paint for a living. That will be my dream.
Hey, everybody, just want to take a moment and give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Sullen Clothing. If you're a fan of tattoo art and art in general, they make some of the coolest t-shirts, hoodies, and hats with some of the best art from some of the best tattoo artists in the world. Check them out, sullenclothing.com. Ryan, Jeremy, good friends of mine, thank you for your support. And now back to the show.
And a friend of mine, we were still good friends. He actually lives in California. He came to visit me yesterday. And he brought me a tattoo magazine that he found in a flea market. And he told me, Stefano, you have to do this. And I saw it. It was a tattoo magazine, like tattoo.
The name tattoo.
The name tattoo.
Yeah. That was a big one for a long time.
It was a big one for a long time.
Yeah.
And when I saw what it was inside, for me was like, I opened this, in the movies, you see that the light coming out. It was like, I had no idea you could do that on the skin.
That's the first time you saw modern tattooing. You've never seen a tattoo like that on a person.
In a person.
Did not know it even existed.
No.
Interesting.
And that was probably at 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I didn't know a story. I didn't know what was a tattoo shop. I didn't know anything.
Wow.
And when I saw that, and I saw tattoo conventions, people in the, in everything you can gather from that magazine, I understood clearly where, for example, I'm a, metalhead. So I later on, I got another magazine of where it was Paul Booth, like doing a tattoo on Earth, tattoo the Earth with Biohazard, I remember Sepultura and Pantera.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, what is this? How that fits together? I don't even understood. Now I can understand. Even now it would be a weird thing to have a tour of tattoo artists with metal bands. It's not happening now, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, big story short, I found a Huxbalding, I don't know if you can say brands, Huxbalding kit with a light blue background. Oh, you remember that.
Oh, I ordered one. I had it. Remember the power supply?
The power supply, I traveled with that. It was like a lunchbox.
20 pound fucking piece of shit.
Exactly. I traveled with that for a long time. And that was my first tattoo kit. I ordered it from Peru. My dad did it for me. I borrowed the money
That's off to you,
my
Dad.
Oh my God.
Thank you,
Dad. And he didn't give it to me. I borrowed the money from him and I have to pay it later on with tattoos. He was not in a rush. He was trying to, I think, to test me if I can be, like.
You serious?
Also like a lesson in life. Like if I have a word to pay back, something like that.
Right,
That's how I felt it too.
That's a good dad. He's teaching you respect and teaching you responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I felt it. He didn't thought or me that I'll be doing this 30 years after.
Right.
And I love it. I finished my career, an intern in a graphic studio or something, just for 1 month. And after that, I like, I cannot do this. I cannot have a 9 to 5. And I opened my studio. At that time, it was one tattoo shop, very small, in Lima. It was 3 years after I got my tattoo kit.
Okay.
3 years ago.
So you've got 3 years of good practice under your belt.
Practicing, but not from anybody. I wish I have an apprenticeship. I wish it saved me so much time. I was tattooing at the beginning to the point that I was thinking like maybe I'm not meant to do that because they were not healing well. I didn't know how to put the pressure. I didn't know anything about it. I was just figuring out having the tools and I don't know what to do, But I was looking at the magazines in the pictures of the conventions, how the machines was everything together. I followed the book, the A to Z.
Yeah, Huxbalding A to Z.
A to Z, and that was my teacher. That was my mentor.
I mean, from where you were, that was a big help, I'll bet.
It was.
Yeah.
Just for the picture because I didn't speak any English.
Oh, that's another barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
you couldn't read it.
You
just had to look at the photos and try to decipher what the hell they were talking about.
Exactly. I remember clearly it was some arrows in a circle. You put the paper towel in the 2 fingers there.
Yeah. So I still hold it that way.
You hold it that way. I could never do that.
I love it because I can wipe and wipe. I wipe them from both sides. Just whatever. I actually just figured I did it that way. I probably got it from Huxbalding. Now I don't remember that part of it, but I did read that book as a young tattooer. That's probably where I got it. Yeah,
probably. Yeah. And the rest is history. That's how it was my beginning. How tattoos stamped on my life.
I love it. That's a beautiful story, and again, it highlights like this level of love and commitment you had to have had. I mean, you had a million reasons to not be doing that, and none of them seemed to stop you. So if there's, anybody with a big enough heart to be in this industry, you're a shining example of that because it is easy now. And so somebody can get in it now that maybe they think it's kind of cool, but that was not even an option. So what a great story. And obviously you're here now today crushing it. But I mean, so you've got these 3 years of trying to tattoo, and then you open the second studio ever in Lima.
Correct.
So for you or for other tattooers with you?
Exactly.
You had tattooers working with you in the studio in
by
Lima.
myself.
By yourself
by
in
myself.
Lima. Private, kind of a private studio.
It was in a plaza.
In a
it
plaza.
was not private.
But you worked there alone.
I worked there alone. I don't even have a space for another one. And later on, another tattooer, probably like 3 years after, this guy came in that, I would love to work with you. And I was like, okay. So I rent another place in the same plaza, bigger. And I have 2 more stations, and that's how I start. At the beginning, it was not easy because it was not popular. So
somebody really wanted tattoos.
Exactly.
So who are you tattooing? What types of folks are you tattooing back then?
Well, I was lucky that it was right across the street from my house. So I didn't have to spend in transportation. And it was right next to a university. So a lot of curious young kids for university, probably they were saving to get tattoos, without their parents probably knowing, no? But I was selling a bunch of things at the store too, like magazines and even like T-shirts from brands, trying to pay the rent as well. I had my computer there because I was doing some graphic design for like a surf companies and stuff, trying to do everything that I love to do.
Yeah, because you couldn't tattoo all day, so you had to subsidize the income somehow.
There were a few months that I don't have, the money to pay the rent. And the rent was very cheap. Now that I think about, I remember that time the rent was $150.
And that's the level of cash you're bringing in. Can barely make that.
Yes, barely make that.
Yeah. So 3 years tattooing before the shop. Now you've got this studio. Now you expanded. It's a little larger. How many years does this go on in Lima? Your shop.
My shop, yeah.
Does it keep growing?
It will keep growing. I was also raising a little bit my prices. I charged very little at the beginning, like barely minimum as I mentioned, like to pay the rent, the very cheap rent. And later I opened a second studio also in Lima, in a more central area, a little bit more popular. I was in the suburbs because it was my area. And this other shop was in that popular commercial area. So I didn't want to be also competition. I got tattoo by him before I opened my shop because I want to have a tattoo, I want to feel it. I didn't, that was early when I was, before I was tattooing. And we're still friends until now,
Yeah.
We're still friends until now.
So how many years do you still have a shop in Lima?
2, yes.
Those 2 shops are still there. That's your home base.
And that's not my home base. Well, I moved them around a little bit over the years, but the original is like 2 blocks different from my original.
So you're still going. How rad.
Still going, yes. My brother took care of it, yeah.
So when you're at the point where it's like, there's not a lot of customers, you got to do all these other things to make ends meet. What year or what time frame does, because at this point, what you're experiencing is not happening in the US. I mean, let's do the math. So you're a 30-year tattooer. This is 25-ish years ago. So 25 years ago, I was a 5-year tattooer. So I was in Southern California at that time, working at Avalon Tattoo in a bursting market. I mean, uncontrollable market. Nobody can keep up. I'm a 5-year tattooer with a year-long waiting list. So that's what's you're down there in Lima, trying to make enough to pay your rent. We're up here in America, just blowing off. It's blowing up. So when does that surge in tattooing, that popularity, reach Peru?
It slowly started being popular. I started advertising in punk rock and metal concerts, putting my logo there, making radio promotions and stuff like that, tattooing the DJs or stuff like that, trying to put my name out there in the classical ways of promoting your like. It was no social media, it was not internet, it was nothing of that, Even Yellow Pages, I was there, just trying to be there. And little by little was, became more popular. I think I don't really know how.
But did it slowly just get more popular, or was there a moment where it was like, holy shit?
No, it was slowly.
It just steadily grew. Steadily grew. I mean, today I'm assuming in Peru, Lima, tattoos are as popular there as they are anywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
So it's
popular.
now even with all of us now.
With the whole world.
But getting there
Same.
was slowly.
It's
Maybe another
slowly.
10 years before it became fully robust.
I even think like another 10 years until I fully feel like I could tattoo. Like, well, I said, okay, this is healing well. I'm happy where I am. After 10 years, I felt like I was, a legit tattoo artist, enough able to travel to do a Expo somewhere and not be embarrassed to that point.
Interesting, man. That is a very, very beautiful story. Again, the commitment you must have and the love you must have for tattoo. That touches my heart. It really does. Especially in this day and age where I feel like it's gotten a little less. I don't want to talk shit on any new tattooer. Like, I'm all about freedom. If you want a part-time tattoo and you kind of like it, who am I to stop you? But that was not possible when we started. You had to be all in. And it really created a culture, I think, of tattooers. When you got together with tattooers back then, we all shared that. We were in it. Not everybody. There's a couple fuckheads moving around all the time.
For sure.
But most of us were in it, like 100% committed, living it, eating it, shitting it, breathing it. And now, it's weird. I'll be somewhere at dinner and someone's a tattoo artist and I'll ask them about them. And they're like, yeah, I do it 2 days a week. And I also do this, and I'm just like, you can kind of feel that they're just like, it's pretty cool. It's super kind of fun. And I'm like, wow. I'm offended, but I shouldn't be. Like, who am I to judge your journey? But no, you're not allowed to do that,
I think when we started, different than me, but before I opened my first shop, I make a trip here to buy supplies and everything. I didn't know brands. I didn't know anything beside the Huxbalding kit that I got. And actually, I was in California. My aunt lived here, and I visit a few tattoo shops here. And I was trying to ask what inks they use. I want to buy them, or what needles they use. And I have probably 50-50 of that type of answer that I got. Somebody say, hey, I'm a tattoo from Peru, and what inks are those? So like, we don't get any type of information here, man. Like, almost like they kicked me out for trying to know the secrets. It was everything was very, I want to say that I really like the hiddenness and the undergroundness, even if it was a popular busy shops, but then other people, younger maybe or not, they were like, oh, we use this brand and whatever, and they give me the name, so I was looking in a magazine and trying to call and to the number. It was a mission. It was a mission to get supplies, and you have to prove that you have a tattoo shop for real. If not, they don't want to sell you.
Right.
I remember the tattoo supply, they don't sell you if you don't have like a permit from where you work, and now you can get them in Amazon.
Yeah, that's done. And I was part of working for people that were very, very strict about that. Man, if you came into my shop with the guys I worked with and I told you something, I'd probably get fucking punched in the face after you left. So it was no way. You kept that shit tight, even though I was sort of like, who cares? Like, we don't want a bunch of shitty tattooers coming in and taking all the business. And my thought was like, well, welcome to capitalism. If they are shitty, then they're not taking my business,
right?
Because my customers like good tattoos. I'm not worried about this, but many were, and there's even a little bit of me now looking back, like maybe we should have been more strict and not let it out of the bag. But the reality is that was happening. It didn't matter how I felt about it. It didn't matter how anyone felt about it.
No,
you're not stopping it. And I started saying that. I was like, I don't know what you guys are protecting. You're fucked. It's right. Have you been online? It's no one go to any of these websites. They're not asking if I'm a professional tattooer. I just order it, and they're still fighting for the gatekeeping aspect. I'm like, it's like a guy from Hawaii still bitching about, that white people live there. It's like, dude, it is sad. Like, you had this beautiful island and your culture has been destroyed, but I don't know how you fucking back that up. It's over.
It's no way.
The Hilton Hotel is there and everyone's here, and that's what happened. And all we can do is move forward,
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So let me just, before we jump ahead, so you've got this shop, you still have those shops. you're now 10 years in, you're like, I can kind of tattoo. I feel confident enough to walk into other tattoo shops, professional tattoo shops in America, and present myself and not be embarrassed, maybe even do a guest spot or whatever you were up to, buy supplies. And so you're doing, and then when you're in America, I'm sure you're coming home inspired, like seeing like what American tattoo shops were doing. So you're bringing this vibration, this new coming home, like, guys, look this how we're doing it. That's how is it a lot of this going on?
100%. Even always my influence in life, I think music is something, a big part of my life. It was all from the United States, It was not from Peru. Even if I love my country and everything, but, I was always looking for good music and good art and everything. That's why later on, the life brought me here where I could learn from, people who is better than me. And I was always trying to do guest spots with a couple artists that I feel like they kill me. So I want to see that magic happening in front of my eyes and absorb everything because I had nobody to learn from in Peru. So I was just going there and helping and trying to be almost like an apprentice. That was my apprenticeship, trying to be in shops and learning. I remember that artist, when I saw the first black and gray piece, and I was like, wow, that's how you do the smooth shading. And I have no idea. I have it's nowhere to
put
learn.
Water in the black ink.
Exactly. Genius. I was like, wow. And just making all this, whatever, you don't know what's going on, and you clean it and it's so smooth. I was like, wow. I was coming back with new tricks every trip. I was coming back to Peru. I was going back to Peru. But I was coming here every year for like 1 month and visiting my cousins who live here, whatever, and then just maybe do a 1 week or 2 weeks guest spot somewhere. Until one day I was coming every year, and then in the border, they were telling me, you come here every year, you stay like 2 months, 3 months, what do you do? They're like, I have a shopping. I was not lying. I come here because I have to buy supplies because it's on top of I was charging very little. I have to fly to buy something to bring it back to Peru. It was not.
Yeah, so a bottle of ink for you is 10 times more expensive than what we're paying.
And I was charging 10 times less for the tattoo.
So you're getting hit on both sides, not in a good way.
No, not in a good way.
Yeah.
But I was happy. I don't have big things or anything, but I was doing what I love. And I think for me, tattooing is so special, to have somebody to trust you. And for me, still now, I feel very blessed and very happy, and sometimes even surprised that somebody trusts you so much to mark their body forever. I never take that for granted, and I always try. That's why I try to do my best work every day.
Well, you get it. I mean, I feel the same way. I don't know. I tell people all the time, there's plenty of jobs you can do where you don't really have to try super hard. This isn't one of them. So if you don't want to really try hard, leave, please go. And it's not even me trying to get rid of shitty competition. It's more like I'm thinking of the clients. I'm like, they deserve it, man. They're so scared. They're so vulnerable. It's like being a heart surgeon who kind of doesn't give a fuck about heart surgery. Not allowed. Like you got to care about human life, and you got to study heart surgery. It's one of those jobs you just have to. You can go do all kinds of other shit where you don't have to care that much. So yeah, I feel that too. I mean, we're kind of getting down into like the why tattooing special, why it's different, why there's no other art form on it maybe ever will be.
No.
But that sharing of two people collaborating together to make beautiful art, that's the energy transfer that happens between those, the friendships that come out of those. When you've got 1,000 people in your phone that are best friends with you. And it will be for life.
100%. 100%. I love that.
That's why I did the show, because I was like 30 years in. I'm like, what do I have to share? I can keep doing cool tattoos. I've done a lot of those. I'll do more. But the sharing of this and what we're doing today, I think, is what I have to offer. So that's why I'm here doing this. But, it's interesting, too, to think about, I mean, you're kind of the godfather of tattooing in Peru.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You were bringing the knowledge back to the country, and it's propagating off of you.
Correct.
That is, do people regard you that way down there still?
I think so. Yes.
I know you probably don't like that compliment. You're a humble man, but that is a pretty rad thing to know. Like, I did well in America, but I ain't no godfather of tattoo in my country. I'm one tattooer, but you were that for your country.
I think so. But I also, I don't like to think that, because when I go to Peru at my shops, I'm tattooing with everybody every day, same as any other artist. I never, and I don't like to have the boss or I know more than you or anything, but I'm always willing to give my knowledge to anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel old either. I want to feel I'm the young kid in the block.
It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. I fight with that too. Well, that's a beautiful story. And yeah, of course, you're not walking in acting like the godfather of Peruvian tattoo.
Oh, no.
That's not your nature, but it's just a historical fact. If there's books written one day, your name's going to be in those books. And somebody else would have done it. You know, if you had sat back long enough, somebody else had done it. So, but you did, and that matters, you know, in the story of tattoo, especially for Peru. I think that's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
So now we're up to speed. You are legitimately tattooing. I'm assuming at this point, you don't have to fly to America to get ink. You can start ordering the right supplies. Am I right? I mean, yeah.
No.
Even today?
No. Today, yes.
Yeah.
Today, yeah, for sure.
So that going to America to get the right stuff went on for a long time.
Until I left.
So you left Peru and where did you move to?
I came to Florida.
Okay.
My cousin lived there.
Okay.
I live there now. But because that back and forth every year and trying to, you know, coming and learning or whatever, I wanted to come here in a proper way. And I decided with my cousin, he wanna just also follow the same path. He loved to draw. He was working in regular jobs and I was going to visit him. And he told me, like, man, that's cool. That you come here, you travel, you make money and leave, whatever. You can travel, you can make money anywhere in the world you want. You can move anywhere you want as well. Yeah, that's right. And he said, like, I want to learn how to tattoo. So in my trips back and forth every year or whatever, or, you know, like in that time was like a messenger or something. He was asking me questions. He was buying supplies and everything. He started tattooing. So at some point we said, what about if we don't open a shop? And I can just come here legally and have 2 shops and whatever. So we did. And we rent the place and everything. And in the last inspection that we were getting for the fire department, I remember they said, like, the zoning is wrong. Like, you cannot be here. You cannot be here. And I was like, but they gave us all the paperwork and they told yes and everything. They said, like, you don't have a paper to prove that. Maybe somebody make a mistake. And I was all my savings in my cousins as well. And I have zero money and I have no shop and I have to put everything in the storage. And at that moment, it was one of probably the lowest moments in my life when I just arrived to the US, maybe a year in, trying to find a place, you know, saving money in Peru to try to open a shop here. It took me years to be able to do that. And I'm glad that happened. I don't know if that sounds weird, but I think I was losing a little bit the passion of all the art, having 2 shops and trying to open a 3rd shop. And I was like just doing tattoos and not growing as an artist. And when that happened, it was a slap in my face and it was exactly what it had to happen. And I have to put my A game in trying to make it in a different way because I didn't want to go back to my country with no money, with no shop, and with nothing gain, just lose. And my papers I already started applying for an artist visa, and I was denied for the artist visa. Even putting my all by that time I have like magazines and stuff like that, and that I was I remember back in, I don't know if you remember yet, internet was already happening. It was a page called Ink Nation. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember the name. I don't know if I ever really spent time on it.
Well, I spent time there, and they have tattoo of the day every day. And I remember how I was seeing like people were putting their tattoos they did on the day, and I started, you know, putting my best work there. And when I came, I did my first convention in Philadelphia, and I started seeing the people that was looking in this website. But anyways, I said like I want to just do conventions and maybe, you know, have some awards, and I can come back. Okay, no shop, no money, whatever, but at least I have an accomplishment in the reason why I came here. I have to be a reason why I came here, not just to touch rock bottom in my life and start, you know, because in Peru, even if it was hard times and everything, I didn't grow up like poor or anything like that. I was, you know, like a middle class, normal. But then when you have to your life by your own hands or whatever, that was a great thing for me. And I won Best of Show in Philadelphia. And that's when I think my life changed, because I got offered for a couple of shops to work. And it was, I remember at the time, it was Chris Benecam, I remember, from All or Nothing. in Atlanta. And he was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from Peru, and I just want a tattoo, and I do these color portraits and whatever." He was like, "Oh my God, what is this?" I remember his face, and I admired that guy. And I was like, "Oh, if you want to come to the shop, let me know. I want to give you have to go to Brandon and blah, blah, blah." And he said, okay. And then I always liked the metal and stuff like that. I went to New York after Philadelphia. And I remember it was like Halloween time. And I went to Last Rites for the Halloween party.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Perfect place to be for a Halloween party.
Every day. Halloween every day.
All year long. Yeah.
All year long. And I was so excited to be there. Because that was one of the first magazines I ever saw. Like Paul Booth was there, and I just want to be there. And I have my cards. I remember, and if something happened, I want to use my card. I never liked to ask for anything. Like, I want to work, because I didn't feel like I also, like, maybe in the level in my mind, I was not a big name or anything. Nobody knew me. And I gave my card to somebody in the line of the bathroom, I remember. And say, did you did that? I remember clearly that it was yesterday, because those are moments who actually make my life how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, interaction with people in that night, I end up meeting the manager of the shop and say, like, I want to write you on MySpace. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do a guest spot, I want to talk to Paul, and I want to do a guest spot. They're like, I would love to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decide to actually stay in New York. And then when I did my papers and everything was, my life changed completely there.
Okay. So the first shop you worked at in America was Last Rites with Paul Booth.
That's correct.
Boy,
as a permanent, not a guest spot.
Yeah, you did some guest spots, but that was your first resident permanent place that you worked.
Yes.
Boy, you found yourself right to the top of the food chain there, buddy. Nice work.
I was so in a star in a movie.
Yeah. I mean, he's still a major icon in industry, but back at this time period, he is like a god. I mean, there's like 7 guys that the whole world of tattooing is worshiping.
I don't know if he would like to be called God, but I mean,
he's the king of hell.
The king of hell.
Yeah, that's true. It's a great story. Like, it's just the hero's journey, right? It's this, you're following your heart no matter what.
No matter what.
And eventually, and this always happens, man, the universe has some kind of system for this. And if you're that true, it likes to make you suffer, I think, but because it wants to make sure you're serious. But, and it definitely gave you, I hear this story and it's like, should have walked away here, should have given up here, should have just gone back to Peru and just settled in with what you had here.
Yeah.
And you're just saying, no. And then eventually, boom, you get this job at Last Rites. And there's a lot that happens after this, I know. But to me, and I think you agree, this is the beginning of your tattoo renaissance.
Oh, but career. That was the beginning of my tattoo career.
Of your whole career.
Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
I think that all these 10, 15, whatever years I had before, it was just getting prepared for this, I think.
That is such a great story. That gives me like goosebumps.
Man, I have goosebumps a couple times already, but...
Well, like I said, when I sat you down, we didn't have a lot of time today. And it's bumming me out right now because like I feel like I'm on the halfway, maybe the third way point on this tattoo journey. So we'll do a little more here, but I'm going to say it on the air. I think we need a part 2.
I think so too.
Okay. So
I would love to.
You move around a lot. I don't know if you're ever in San Diego, or maybe I'll be at a convention that you're at, but let's just set that over there. We're going to do part 2 next, but I love where we landed. And just to clarify, how long did you spend at Last Rites once you got that job?
At the beginning, he hired me for 3 years, but I ended up staying for like 5 to 8 years. My last years, I lived in New York for 8 years. But at the end, I did my 3 years strict, not missing one day, because I like to be a man of my word in any way. And after that, I was just more like a part-time
traveling back to Peru.
Exactly. And he was fine with that, and I was always back. That was my home base, New York. And then I stayed for longest of 8 years in New York.
And we're going to get into this in part 2, but just to, I see your Instagram. It seems like that's still how you roll. Like you travel constantly,
a lot.
Still.
Yes.
And is home base, your shop's in Peru, in between travel? Or are you just hopping?
No,
Do you have a shop you go back to?
Yes, where my car and my bed is
Yes, that's what I'm getting
in
at.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
I have a shop there with my cousin.
So you eventually got that shop.
We got it right after many years that I was in New York. We actually did it, and
It just wasn't the right time.
it wasn't the right
It
time.
really wasn't.
No,
That would not have this. If you'd gotten your shop, you wouldn't have started that burst in your own portfolio. You and your cousin still learning together, growing together. But yeah, that was the universe. You know, that's a funny thing. At 53, I look back on some of the times I've really been knocked down. And I can't find one that I'm like, oh, that was perfect, actually. You know, it's in the moment, it's like, this is the worst thing ever. But I always tell people, just be patient.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what bad or good. I mean, there's a cute bad. You know, your child dies in a car accident. We're not talking about that. We're talking about life bad. You lose a company, you get divorced, you go bankrupt. Be patient. If your heart's pure, I bet you one day you're going to be like, that was perfect.
I agree 100%. And my mindset in everything in life is I'm very grateful for every failure, for every rock on the road, everything, because that make me who I am right now. And I would not change anything because, make you stronger, make you doubt, make you be a more mature person and find ways to continue your destiny, I guess, or something,
I mean, it develops a person of character.
100%.
I have a dream of maybe being an old wise man that people respect. Well, you ain't having that if you've had an easy road.
No.
The wise man's been through some shit,
Oh, yeah.
know? And
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like you're already a wise man, but I think you've got a little ways further even to go. Being here in this room with you right now, it's palpable. Like, I feel like I'm like getting smarter just sitting here with you or learning something. It's infectious. It's infectious. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. Can't think of a better way to end it for part one. Thank you for coming in. For those of you watching, please check this guy's workout. That's it. Just do. You can thank me later.
Thank you.
And I'm going to see you around maybe later today, but definitely in the tattoo world. We're going to bump into each other again.
I would love to. I come. Well, I go visit you to San Diego. It's always a good.
My doors are wide open. Guru Tattoo will host you. We'll take care of you. We'll make you happy. I have this. We'll do another episode.
Maybe we'll do a guest spot. I do a guest spot too.
Hell yes. The answer is just yes. Let's do it.
Thank you.
And where can people find you? How do you like people to find you? On Instagram?
And Instagram is the easiest way. I think is the most.
So it's just
easier way.
It's at Stefano
Alcantara.
Alcantera, Alcantara. Look him up, check him out, hit him up. I'm sure he's got a little bit of a waiting list, but hit him up anyway. And we'll be hanging out again soon, buddy. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate
We'll
it.
see you on the next one. Peace out.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.